Welcome to another English lesson. Last class you discussed pronouns and you were given assignment to do. The assignment was identify the types of pronouns in the following sentences. What are the sentences? You have them number 1 to 10. You get this. Number 1, the two friends help each other. Number 2, they saw the snake and killed it. Number 3, she placed her bag on the table, so go and bring it. Number 4, we have done our work, so everybody can go home now. Number 5, they entered the room when nobody was there. Number 6, the baby cried a lot last night because it was sick. Number 7, someone has volunteered and has done the job. Number 8, I was in class while she was out. Number 10, take yours and give them theirs. Number 10, that's your father's car. So we're going to move to the correction. Good. So compare these answers to yours. Number 1, the two friends help each other. The underlined pronouns here is each other. So what type of pronoun is this? Reciprocal pronouns. Number 2, they saw the snake and killed it. In this sentence, you have two pronouns. What are they? They and it. So what type of pronouns are they? Personal pronouns. You have number 3, she placed her bag on the table, so go and bring it. So here we can see we have two types of pronoun, she and her. Both of them are personal pronouns. We have done our work, so everybody can go home now. We is underlined as personal pronoun. They entered the room when nobody was there. The underlined pronoun here is nobody, which is indefinite pronoun. The baby cried a lot last night because it was sick. So the underlined pronoun here is it and is a personal pronoun. Someone has volunteered and has done the job. The underlined pronoun is someone, and of course is an indefinite pronoun. I was in class while she was out. The two pronouns underlined here in this sentence are I and she. Both of them are personal pronouns. Take yours and give them theirs. The two underlined pronouns are yours and theirs. Both of them are possessive pronouns. So we're going to move on to our today's lesson, which is a verb. Today we're going to look at verbs. What are they? What do they do? We move on. We look at the definition of a verb. We said a verb is a word or group of words that expresses an action, a state, or event. A verb is the most important element in a sentence. Without a verb, you cannot make a sentence. You can make a sentence without adjective. You can make a sentence without adverb. You can make a sentence without prepositions. But you cannot make a sentence without a verb. Therefore, it is the most important element in the sentence. So this verb can express an action, sometimes does not express an action. At times, the verb expresses a state of being or an event. So we look at here. He ate the bread. If you look at this example, the verb ate expresses an action done by the subject. Number 2, the thief scaled the fence. Here also the verb underlined, which is scale, is an action. Number 3, the woman is beautiful. Here is, as the verb, does not express an action. Instead, it expresses a state. Number 4, The boy was hungry. The same thing, the underlying verb here was, does not express an action, but it expresses a state. What is this state? The state of the boy being hungry. Number 5, the competition happened in the afternoon. The underlying verb here is happen. Does not express any action, but it expresses an event. That confirms our definition that a verb is an action, word, or state, or an event. That a verb expresses an action, or a state, or an event. We move on. Types of verbs. There are 2 main types of verbs, namely lexical, otherwise called main verb, auxiliary, also called helping verb. Lexical verb. The lexical verb is also called the main verb. It is a verb that conveys a real meaning and tells us exactly what a noun or pronoun does in a sentence. Lexical verbs alone can make sense. For example, if I say eat, you know what I say. If I say go, you know what I say. If I say come, you know what I say. If I say sit, you know what I say. If I say write, you know what I say. So lexical verb carries meaning, unlike the auxiliary verbs. So here we look at this example. Fatu writes a letter. She cooks lunch every day. My uncle works at NAWEC. I walk to school every day. Here the underlying words like Fatu writes. Write is the verb. She cooks lunch every day. Cooks is the verb. My uncle works at NAWEC. Works is the verb. I walk to school every day. Here walk is the verb. The boy runs faster than the girl. Here the verb is runs. So if you look at all these are known as lexical verbs because themselves alone would carry meaning. If I say walk, cook, write, run, you understand something. They are unlike the auxiliary verbs. We move on. Now we're going to look at auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verb is a verb which is used with another verb in a sentence, unlike the lexical verb. Lexical verbs can be used without another verb, but auxiliary verbs cannot be used without another verb. Let's get our example here. I am writing a letter. What is the auxiliary verb? Am. And what is the main verb? Writing. So here, you cannot say, I am a letter. You cannot. So when you use an auxiliary verb, you need a main verb to go with it. So example 2, she is studying at the college. We said they have finished their work. They will arrive tomorrow. I can help you. So you can see the auxiliary verbs being used with another verb. Types of auxiliary verbs. There are 2 types of auxiliary verbs. What are they? We have what we call the primary auxiliary verbs and the modal auxiliary verbs. So let's look at the difference between the primary auxiliary verbs and the modal auxiliary verb. Primary auxiliary verbs. These are auxiliary verbs that can be inflected for numbers. That is, they have both singular and plural. When we talk of primary auxiliary, these are helping verbs. All right? So these are the verbs that can be inflected for numbers. Means that these verbs can show singular or plural. They are unlike the modal auxiliary verbs. The modal auxiliary verbs don't show singular or plural. They don't inflect for numbers. So we look at them. Example is are, does, do, has, have. Example 1, the boy is sick. So here is singular. The boys are sick. Are is plural. So you can see, as we said, these auxiliary verbs have both singular and plural. Is singular and are is plural. You said, he is a doctor. One person. In the plural, they are doctors. You can see the plural form now. He does the work. They do the work. Instead of saying he do the work, in English, you don't say that. You say he does the work. because he is singular subject. Of course, singular subject takes singular verb. So you say he does the work. Number 4, they do the work. Now you can see the difference between do and does. Does is singular, referring to one when the subject is singular, and do here is plural, referring to more than one when the subject is plural. So here you can see the lady has gone to the market, which is also a singular. Has, you cannot say the lady have gone to the market. You say the lady has gone to the market. Number 6, the ladies have gone to the market. So you can see how this verb changes from singular to plural. In number 5, has is the singular because you have one lady. In number 6, have is the plural because you have more than one ladies. So we move on. Forms of primary auxiliary verbs. So these primary auxiliary verbs also have 3 forms, and they are verb to be, verb to have, and verb to do. What are these verbs? Now we look at them one after the other. Verb to be. The verb to be comprises the following words: am, is, are, was, were, being, and being. These are the verbs to be. Let's look at the example. The man is walking in his garden. The men are walking. You can see the verb is, are. Those flowers are growing beautifully. You can see are. The principal is being informed about the math teacher's attitude. You can equally see the verb there is. We move on. Verb to have. The verb to have comprises the following word: has, have, had, and having. Now, has is singular, have is plural, and had is their past tense. For example, she has cooked delicious food. So when you use has, the verb that follows must be in past participle. You cannot say she has cooked without ed. The ed is obligatory for it to be used. You say she has cooked delicious food. They have cooked. Now, has changes to have because now the subject changes. They, you cannot say has. They have cooked delicious food. Number 3, they had cooked, in the past tense now, delicious food before they went out. Number 4, having been informed about the meeting, we left for the venue. So you can see verb to have as well. We move on. Verb to do. The verb to do has 5 forms, and they are does, do, did, done, and doing. He does the work perfectly well, singular. You cannot say he do the work. They do the work perfectly well. Of course, that one is correct because they is plural and do is plural. They can work together. They have done the work perfectly well. They did the work perfectly well. In the past tense, they are doing the work perfectly well in a progressive form. These are the words we use for verbs to do. Now we move on. Special note. The primary auxiliary verb can also be used as a linking verb. This primary auxiliary verb can also be used as linking verb when a linking verb, as the name implies, connects the subject with the complement in the same sentence. Now, if a linking verb comes between 2 nouns, that a subject and a complement, that verb is no more called a helping verb, but in that case is a linking verb. It's not helping any other verb. Take example 1. My father is a driver. Here, when you say my father is a driver, the verb is not helping any other verb. It's unlike when you say my father is driving. When you say my father is driving, the is as an auxiliary verb is helping the main verb drive to make it progressive, ing. But when you say my father is a driver, here the is not helping any verb, but it's trying to link the subject and the complement. What is the subject? My father. What is the complement? A driver. In this case here, they are linking verbs. We said the food tastes nice. We are friends. The Rashila seems tired. Those flowers are beautiful. So all these verbs don't help any, but they're trying to link the subject to the complement. We move on. Now we're going to look at the modal auxiliary verbs. The modal auxiliary verbs indicate the mood of the speaker or the writer towards the event or state expressed by another verb. They do not inflect for numbers. They implies that they take both singular. This implies that they take both singular and plural without changing their form. Now, you were told that the primary auxiliary verb inflects for numbers. And when that happens, they change from singular to plural. But the modal auxiliary verbs don't change. They remain the same. For example, he can do the work. This can as modal auxiliary verb does not change. You said they can do the work. Like you cannot say he can do the work. It's not correct. You just simply say he can do the work. Okay? In the plural form, you say they can do the work. Okay? They are unlike the auxiliary verb. For example, if it is auxiliary verb, then it changes. You say he does the work. You don't say he do the work without the es. He cannot say he do the work. You say he does. You need to add es. But in the plural, you say they do the work. Is that good? So the modal auxiliary verb don't show that number. For example, primary auxiliary verb, you say he is a teacher. Now in the plural, they are. You see, it changes from is to are. But in the modal auxiliary verb, the verb doesn't change irrespective of the subject. Here you say he can do the work, they can do the work. You don't say he can't. It doesn't cut. It doesn't work. So we move on. So he said they can do the work, the girl will come, the girls will come. Now we're going to look at this. There are 13 auxiliary verbs in 13 modal auxiliary verbs in English language, and they are can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, most, oft, there, need, and used to. Good. Uses of modal auxiliary verbs. In English grammar, modal auxiliary verbs have different usage as discussed below. One, let's look at can, the uses of can. Can as modal auxiliary verb can be used to express the following: ability. I can do the work. If you use can, you're showing us that you have the ability to do something. You say, I can do the work. Can also can be used to express possibility. I am sure we can settle this problem. Request. Can I use your car? It's a request. Can also be used to express permission. You can use my car. When you request using can, I can grant permission by using can as well. You said, can I use your car? Yes, you can use my car. We move on. Could. Could can be used to express the following: past ability. It could mean the past tense of can, but not necessarily always. Okay? So it could mean past ability. Example, I could run fast when I was young. Could also can be used to express possibility. The man could be right. There's nothing past here, but it's a possibility. Polite request. Could you lend me your pen? You are requesting something politely. You can also use could. So here, that is why I told you could, of course, could mean past ability, but not necessarily is always the past tense of can. Is that good? So we move on. Shall. Shall can be used to express determination. I shall attend the party. You are determined to attend the party. B, shall can also be used to express future action. We shall visit Banjul next week. You see, modal auxiliary verbs have usage depending on the context in which the word is used. So we move on. Should. It is used to express obligation. An obligation means something that you have to do. So we said you should do the work. It's an obligation for you to do the work. So if you want to express an obligation, you can use modal auxiliary verb should. You should do the work. Should also can be used for request. Should I make good use of your book? You are requesting. There's no obligation here, but you're making some request. Will. Will is used to express willingness. You are willing to do something. I will help you. It can also be used to express future action. She will come next week. Will can also be used to express determination. We will attend the party despite all odds. Request. Will you give me your pen? So you see, will alone has 4 different uses that it can be used for willingness, future action, determination, and of course, request. We move on. Would is used to express willingness, not necessarily past tense of will. We said, I would read for you. You are willing to do it. It can also be used to apply request. Would you allow me into the hall? You are requesting the person politely. You said, would you allow me into the hall? Would you help me with some money? And of course, it is also used for preference. I would prefer mango to orange. Now, may. May is used to express possibility. It may rain, it may not. When you say it may rain, it's a possibility that it may rain, it may not. And it can also be used for polite request. May I come? May I join you? May I help you? Permission. You may come. See, you can use may to grant permission. Somebody make a request. May I come? You say yes, you may come. So when you say you may come, doesn't mean any possibility there, but you're just trying to give the person permission. May can also use to express wishes. May you have a safe journey. Somebody traveling, you wish the person a very safe journey. You said, may you have a safe journey. We move on. Might. It is used to express possibility. That might be the teacher we want to see. It's possible that he's the teacher. Permission. Might. I ask whether you are using the laptop. Oft. It is used to express obligation. You have to pay for your mistakes. It's an obligation that you have to do. There, it is used to express brave, bold enough. He dare not talk when I'm talking. No soldier dare disobey my command. Now note, here, dare cannot take the inflection of S. You cannot say he dares not, because modal auxiliary verbs are not inflected. So you cannot say he dares not to talk. You cannot also say no soldier dares disobey. You only say no soldiers dare disobey, because the main verb here is disobey, and there is a modal auxiliary verb which cannot be inflected. We move on. Need. It is used to express necessity. I need to do the work. There is necessity for you to do the work. He needn't study. It's not necessary for him to study. Must is used to express obligation. You must keep the information. You don't reveal it to anybody. Determination. I must write a letter. When you are expressing determination, you can say, I must write a letter. Used to, it is used to express past habitual action. Habitual action means actions that used to happen frequently. When it is past, you express them. If you want to express them in the past, you use the verb used to. For example, he used to work 5 hours daily. He used to work 5 hours daily. Like you can say, he works 5 hours daily. When it is past, what do you say? He used to work 5 hours daily. I used to work every day. That is past. In the present, you say, I work every day. When it is past, what do you say? I used to work every day. We move on. Now, the summary now. A verb is a word, a group of words that express an action, a state, or event. There are 2 main types of verbs, namely lexical main verb, auxiliary helping verb. There are 2 types of auxiliary verb, primary auxiliary verb and the modal auxiliary verb. Primary auxiliary verbs have 3 forms. They are verb to be, verb to have, and verb to do. There are 13 modal auxiliary verbs in English language, and they are can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, must, of, their, need, and used to. Good. Now let's do this classwork. Underline the verbs in the following sentences. She teaches English language. We can finish the work. You must go now. Isa has gone to the market. She dare not go out. I am doing my assignment. You were not talking to him. Have you attended the training? Get inside the house. He will come next week. Now, the correction. What are the verbs in the sentences? She teaches English language. Here, teaches is the verb. We can finish the work. Here, the verb is can finish. You have a modal auxiliary verb and a main verb. You must go now. Here, the verb is must and go, modal auxiliary verb and a main verb. Isa has gone to the market. Here, you have 2 main verbs. Sorry, you have an auxiliary verb and a main verb, has and gone. Number 5, she dare not go out. You have the modal auxiliary verb there and go as main verb. I am doing my assignment. The verb here, am, auxiliary verb, doing, main verb. You were not talking to him. The verbs here are were as an auxiliary verb, talking as main verb. Have you attended the training? Here you have 2 verbs, have as an auxiliary verb and attended, main verb. Number 9, get inside the house. You have only 1 main verb, which is get. The subject here is hidden. You say, you get inside the house. So here we come. He will come next week. You have 2 verbs, will, modal auxiliary verb, and a main verb, come. We move on. Now do this classwork. Identify the different type of verbs used in the following sentences. Here, verbs are underlined. What are you going to do? Identify the type of verbs. She teaches English. Teaches is identified, is underlined. What type of verb it is? It is a lexical verb or an auxiliary verb. We can finish the work. Can is underlined. Is it a main verb or auxiliary verb? You must go. Must is underlined. What type of verb it is? Isa has gone to the market. Has is underlined. No, she dare not go out. Dare is underlined. I am doing my assignment. Am is underlined. You were not talking to him. Where is underlined. Have you attended the training? Have is underlined. Get inside the house. Get is underlined. He will come next week. Will is underlined. So these underlined verbs, identify them, whether they are main verb or they are auxiliary verb. Now the correction. Let's look at the correction. Sentence 1, she teaches English language. Teaches as a verb is a lexical verb. We can finish the work. Can is a modal auxiliary verb. You must go now. Must is a modal auxiliary verb. Isa has gone to the market. Has is an auxiliary verb. Verb to have. She dare not go out, a modal auxiliary verb. I am doing my assignment. Am is an auxiliary verb, a verb to be. You were not talking to him. where is underlined as an auxiliary verb, and of course is a verb to be. Get, have you attended the training? Have is underlined. Of course, is an auxiliary verb, verb to be. Get inside the house. Get is the verb. Have you attended the training? Is an auxiliary verb, of course, verb to have. Get inside the house is a lexical verb. Because I told you the subject is hidden, it should be you get inside the house. So we move on. He will come next week. Will is a modal auxiliary verb. Now what do you do? Take this assignment. What are you going to do in your assignment? Complete this table. What is in the table? Give 5 lexical verbs. Give all the verbs to have, verb to be, verb to do, and the modal auxiliary verb. Work on your assignment before our next class. So I thank you all very much for your kind attention, and I hope that you've understood the lesson, and of course you've learned the different verbs that we discussed. Primary auxiliary verb and the modal auxiliary verb, lexical verb, and helping verb. As I always advise you, stay at home, focus on your television, read your books, do your assignment, avoid crowded places, always wash your hand with soap. I thank you very much. Until we meet again, bye-bye.